Hello and welcome, my brothers and sisters. This is SongBirdGrandMother, and I am coming to you live from the beautiful Sedona, Arizona, the land of transformation. And it is now November 1st, 2016. However and wherever this message finds you, I pray that you are good and well and shining your light wherever it is needed. And today I was inspired to record this message as we head into our last moments of 2016. 2016 was an amazing year of transformation, transmutation, and removing all of the gunk, all the sticky parts, the hard parts, the parts that no longer belong or serve your highest good. And as we now are approaching our 11:11 doorway of new beginnings, I was reminded that there are two parts of the 11:11. Many people, when they're first embarking on a journey of the heart, will start to see the number 11:11. Whether it's on a digital clock or someone mentions it, or it's a time that you just remember, and it continuously comes. And when you're going through 11:11, there are two parts to the 11:11. The first part is the crashing or the tearing down of all the old thoughts, beliefs, realities, everything that stops you on your journey of courage. And the second part of 11:11 is the rebuilding, the new, the dawn of the new coming, the fresh beginning. And so as a collective, we here in the United States, we will have our election process where we will have a change of the guard, so to say. And pretty much most of this year, everything's kind of been building to this energy of a change. And not to get into politics or any of that stuff, but to really just say that it represents a change of thought or direction, or on a spiritual level, timelines. And then we talk about dimensions. But when we are going through this change, it affects not only our outer world, but our inner world. And the more attached we are to the outcome or our beliefs around it, the bigger the teardown may be. So for this 11:11, the message is to detach from reaction. Our thoughts are very powerful. In fact, what we speak becomes our existence. What we think becomes our way of life. And especially if you are sensitive, empathic, you're what I like to call a human being, where you're not a zombie and you're living the best life you possibly can given whatever circumstances you're given, then the only way forward now is to detach from what is called reality. And this begins with our thoughts, because what we think and what we say are determining where we go. And for this new doorway that's coming up on the 11/11, we are ending the 1-year cycle. So whatever was being torn down last 11/11, last year, is now ready to be rebirthed. And then on the opposite end, if you're listening to this recording, in another time frame, not in, 2016, then wherever you are rebuilding something in your life after something has been torn down, because this is the energy that I'm broadcasting this into. So however this message finds you in the eternal presence of now, and that's what's really cool about this time we're living in, is that we live in an eternal presence of now due to the technology that's been created. So we can put a message down and it becomes timeless. This is pretty incredible for those who are creating what I call your legacy. And we're heading into a very powerful doorway. We're right in the tunnel of miracles. And if you're someone who has had a pretty rough awakening, or you have been going through the rebirth process, then the invitation for the next couple months is to reflect, honor, and build what it is you're here to create from your heart. And that could just be more loving relationships, better jobs, creating your own career path, getting your artist self out in the world, your expression. It comes in many, many, many forms. And as we are now coming to the end of this intense fire year, the year of transformation, transmutation, the year where hearts are, really blazing with awakening, we are being prepared for a big year in 2017, and then the decade to follow, and really the decades to follow. Because if you're listening to this message and you feel the call, it's time to go for it. It's time to follow the calling of your heart, because many are coming into their own awakening process. And as we go forward, we start to see all the aspects of awakening. And as of now, they've been very individual. Going forward, we begin to start getting into collectives. So every town, every city, every community will have their own collective. And this collective is a gathering space. It's the place where people meet and engage and reflect and build together, because that is what's gonna be where the awakenings happen. And as we move forward, we're going to see that the election is not going to matter. It's not going to influence most people's lives, except for in terms of more rules, regulations, what you can and can't do. However, for way showers and those who I'm putting this message out for, the legacy holders, you don't exist in that time. You don't exist in that world. If you're listening to this message, you are someone who is here forging your own path. And while you may dip into those realities, you don't fully immerse yourself into them. You don't react in those same ways. And this does require some tearing down, because a lot of what we do in our lives is not from our heart. It takes some time to get to know who you really are. And it really takes lifetimes to understand who you are. The good news is that you've already lived a bulk of those lifetimes, and in fact, most of you are done with the lessons, so to say, the karma. And we're in a space now where there's at least enough of us who are traveling this heart path, where we can find each other, we can support each other, and we can move forward in the creation of the new, allowing the old to just go. And one of the biggest things moving forward is this is the time of the divine feminine. This is her time of rising. And it is her time of understanding and compassion and nurturing and loving, because there is nothing like a mother's love. And that's really where we have to think when we think of the divine feminine. Mother's love, that soft cushion where you land when you've had your biggest fall. You know, the woman who kisses your boo-boos after, you hurt yourself. Mother's love. And when we put that in the grandest perspective, it's the earth, it's the mother, it's the grandmother. She is loving each one of us. And going forward, the wake-up call is a call back to the essence of mother, of loving and healing our relationships with women, with ourselves, with the earth, with men, with each other, and all of the programming that stops us from loving and caring for one another. And so for me, it has been a journey of really returning back to the essence of living an authentic life and being willing to look at all the things that are not authentic, and even more so having the courage to let go of the things that don't serve. And I think one of the biggest things I noticed on this journey is that you have to be willing to sit with yourself and to understand who you are, and most importantly, to accept who you are and your intuition, and not caring what others think or say or do against you. Because when you start to live a life from your heart, the biggest pushback or resistance that you usually will find is from those still living in the box that you just escaped from. And it can be a rough journey if you're not in a space where you are loving yourself. And I think a lot of the modalities out there for healing all touch upon that very concept. It is about nurturing yourself. It is about loving yourself, and that is the divine feminine. And as we come into the next 3 months and really going forward into 2017, we are going to see this feminine energy rise. And we saw brief moments of it maybe in the early 70s, or when the feminist movement was moving forward. And I think a lot of that was burning off some old repressed energy, but it just didn't have the energy to go forward. It didn't have the love, because true feminism is about being a full feminine woman, being and allowing yourself to move in the feminine ways. And as we all know, feminine energy is much different than masculine energy. And masculine energy is very, very much a beautiful and lovely and amazing expression of who we are. We all have divine feminine and we all have divine masculine within ourselves, which is the greatness within ourselves. However, for far too many years, we have been repressed and restricted and programmed and made to live in very unnatural ways, against our nature, against the way our ancestors lived, against the way that we as humans are really designed to live. And so as we have the wake up of the rooster year next year, we're going to start to see new ways of living emerge. And these new ways of living only come to be because we create them. And the only way to create them is together. So, for this next chapter, the invitation is to join together, to reach out to one another, to share your dreams and visions and hopes for the future with those aligned to your greatest good. And as we do this, we begin to heal all the wounded parts, all the parts of ourselves that are less than divine. And we can move forward now into a new calling, a new wake up, a new way of being without the anger, the resentment, the hurt, etc. So as we go forward into this month of Thanksgiving, gratitude, and remembering, I invite you all to connect to your heart and ask, what do I need today? What do I deserve in my life? And then just simply follow that wherever it leads you. Thank you so much for joining me today and for listening to this message from Spirit. I am wishing all of you the best as we go to this new door of love and light, and I look forward to connecting to all the beautiful people who are on this journey together. Many blessings until we meet again.